Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. The Sensex up over 300 points. The Nifty puts on 100 despite a late sell-off. The small and mid-cap indices hit a record high in intraday trade today. US President Joe Biden and China's Xi Jinping agreed to restore military talks and term the San Francisco summit as constructive. But President Biden says he still considers Xi a dictator. President Xi tells a group of American executives US and China can either be adversaries or partners with no middle ground. Israel Defense Forces withdraw from Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital 24 hours after an overnight operation. Israel claims to have found Hamas military equipment at the hospital, but Gaza authorities deny the claims. US President Biden issues a strong defense of his refusal to call for a ceasefire. Tata Tech sets its IPO price band at 475 to 500 rupees a share, looks to raise around 3,042 crores. The public issue will open on the 22nd of November and close on the 24th. Tata Tech is the first company from the Tata Group to launch an IPO in nearly 2 decades. Yuko Bank says it's recovered nearly 80% of the amount that was erroneously transferred to its customers after a tech glitch. Sources say the bank has clawed back 658 crore rupees out of 820 crores that was wrongly credited due to a suspected snag in the immediate payment service mechanism. More than 100 hours since the Uttarakhand tunnel collapse, the ordeal continues for 40 construction workers trapped inside. Rescue teams make a second attempt to drill through the debris. Authorities say all workers are unharmed and remain hopeful of the rescue. 1,000 crore rupees and counting. Sources say cash seizures by the tax department in the 5 poll-bound states has crossed 1,000 crores so far. The head of India's direct tax authority says cash seized so far is more than the total seizures made before the 2019 Lok Sabha elections. The World Health Organization launches a 3-year initiative to address loneliness as a health threat, announces an 11-member commission to outline solutions to foster social connections. As per the WHO, 1 in 4 adults suffer from social isolation and are at a risk of a stroke, anxiety, depression, among other ailments. Well, let's start with the day's market action. The Sensex gaining over 300 points today, and the Nifty added another 80 points, even though we did see the markets coming off their intraday highs today. That's the story, 19,765 on the Nifty. The Nifty Bank closing in the red, down by about 40 points. The Nifty Midcap Index up by 321. It was the mid-caps and the small caps that continued to break new records. The gains were led by IT, auto and real estate stocks. As we just showed you, the Nifty Bank down in the red, bank stocks underperforming, mid-cap and small cap index hitting record highs. Prashant is standing by with more on the day's action. Prashant, closing strong, but coming off their intraday highs. What caused that fall?
Well, strong gains coming in through today, and would have been stronger had it not been for the last 35-40-minute wobble that we saw and that pullback which came through. There were reports of some market at close selling, a basket sell order which came through, which took the market lower. Maybe it's just pullbacks, right? Because the market's done 250 points yesterday, another 200 points today. That would have been too much, even though global markets have been strong. In any case, I'll come back to levels, etc. in just a bit. So the Nifty ending with a very respectable score by the end of the day. Bank Nifty looking a little more weaker. It's been the weaker of the 2 indices for a while now. It ended in the red, and that was where the bulk of the sharp correction came through. Mid and small cap indices, no problems, new highs every day. And of course, the mid-cap index joined that along with a small cap index today. IT services index 5% and counting this week. That's turning out to be the sector of the week. So let me begin there with Nifty gainers. TechM, HCL Tech, Infosys, TCS, LTI, Mindtree, Wipro, 6 large Nifty names, all IT services which did well. Hero MotoCorp and Bajaj Finserv were the other stocks which participated. In the broader market, long list of volume-led gainers. Walk hard out of the blue, big volumes, big move today price-wise. Manappuram, second day running. You had Coforge which did well, not just large cap but mid cap tech as well. CESE, there was KPIT, Sterlite Tech, Welspun Corp, the pipe maker, GICRE, Mapma India, KNR Construction, Dream Folks, Mama Earth, which is Honasa, ITD Cementation, Craftsman Auto is, of course, above 5,000 rupees now, KPI Green, VST Tillers, and many more. By the way, market breadth was, the gap narrowed between advances and declines, only about 100 stocks separating both. But the list of volume-led gainers much longer than what went down. Some pullbacks as well. Kalyan Jewellers has lost about 20% from its recent highs. Welspun Industries, Jyoti Laboratories, Jindal Saw, E-Clerks, ISMT, and Lao Pala were a few other names which lost some. It's back to tracking global markets because they've been supportive. It's a global turn. The bet is that the big hiking cycle is pretty much done, something we've alluded to. How will prices continue to respond to that change narrative? That is the question. Back to you.
All right, Prashant, many thanks for joining us. Now from stocks to the crude oil prices. Prices have declined after a bigger than expected rise in U.S. crude inventories as well as record production. And this has offset worries about lackluster demand from China. Both Brent and NYMEX declining over 1.5%. That's oil prices for you. And back home, the government has cut the windfall tax on crude petroleum from 9,800 rupees a tonne to 6,300 rupees a tonne. Special additional excise duty on diesel has also been cut from 2 rupees per litre to a rupee per litre. Meanwhile, the windfall tax on aviation turbine fuel and petrol continues to be nil. SEBI chairperson Madhavi Puri Butch has said that it is a legal battle with the Sahara Group over alleged financial irregularities that will continue, notwithstanding the death of Subrata Roy earlier this week. Speaking with reporters on the sidelines of an event, the regulator said that Sahara matter was about an entity's conduct and not about an individual. She also said that SEBI's consultation paper on voluntary delisting framework will be on the agenda during SEBI's next board meeting.
And now we are going to our board for approval because we have processed all the feedback. So making delisting easier, more convenient. You know, SEBI has repeatedly said कि हमें अभिमन्यु पसंद नहीं है. तो ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि जो एक बार एक कंपनी हमारी मार्केट में आ गई तो वो अटक गई, उसको बाहर निकलने का रास्ता नहीं दिखता है. So, which is why we are taking this proposal to our board for bringing flexibility in voluntary delisting. जो सहारा मैटर है वो तो एक एंटिटी के साथ था, पूरा सहारा ग्रुप के साथ और उनके इन्वेस्टर्स के साथ. तो एक आदमी के रहने या गुजर जाने से वो पूरा मुद्दा खत्म नहीं हो जाता है. जो इन्वेस्टर्स हैं जिनको अपना पैसा मिलना चाहिए वो तो आगे जाके चलता ही रहेगा.
Well, that's the SEBI chief. Now, the big story this evening, U.S. President Joe Biden and China Xi Jinping held a summit in San Francisco in an attempt to repair the strained relationship between both nations. This was the first face-to-face meeting in a year and Xi Jinping's first visit to the U.S. in nearly 6 years. Both leaders said this meeting was among the most constructive and productive talks that they've had. The bilateral talks lasted for more than 4 hours at a mansion outside of San Francisco. Both leaders agreed on 3 issues: limiting drug trafficking, restoring military communication, and establishing a dialogue on the global risk posed by artificial intelligence. However, several flashpoints remain, including Taiwan. Jinping reportedly told Biden that Taiwan is potentially the most dangerous issue in their relationship. Just hours after the meeting, Biden called Jinping a dictator who runs a communist country. On the other hand, President Xi told a group of American executives that US and China can either be adversaries or partners, and there can be no middle ground.
The U.S. President and his counterpart, President Xi Jinping, have agreed to resume high-level military communication. The two leaders met in person for the first time in a year in San Francisco on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation.
Once open, the door of China-U.S. relations cannot be shut again.
Well, that is the big global story, the Biden-Xi meeting. Now, in a bid to boost economic partnership between India and the U.S., Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal met with Silicon Valley entrepreneurs and venture capitalists today. He also met YouTube CEO Neil Mohan and Micron Tech CEO Sanjay Mehrotra to discuss investment opportunities and their expansion plans in India. Tata Technologies has set a price band for its upcoming initial public offer at 475 to 500 rupees. The public offer of the entity will run for subscription from the 22nd to the 24th of November. This issue is the first from a Tata company in nearly 2 decades. After TCS, around 50% of the issue has been reserved for qualified institutional buyers, while 35% has been set aside for retail investors, 15% for non-institutional investors. Tata Tech's Managing Director and CEO Warren Harris said the company has been part of the automobile electrification journey for more than a decade. Take a look.
We began the electrification journey some 10 years ago. Shortly after Mr. Tata launched the Tata Nano, he challenged us to come up with an electric vehicle concept that was as frugal in terms of pricing as the Tata Nano, and he gave us an MSRP target of $20,000. We put together a concept that we revealed at the International Automotive Show in Detroit in 2012. And incidentally, that was the same show that Elon Musk revealed the Model S. Wow. So we've been part of the electrification journey right since the onset.
Well, that's Tata Tech. Xiaomi has marked its foray into the electric vehicle market. It's unveiled its inaugural EV, the Beijing Xiaomi SU7. The production of the 5-seat sedan will begin in December, with delivery scheduled from February next year. The electric sedan will be available in 3 variants with the option to install assisted driving technology. Hero Motor has said that it recorded its highest ever festive sales between Navratri and Bhai Dooj. The two-wheeler maker clocked more than 14 lakh units in retail sales in the 32-day period. The company attributes this to robust demand in rural markets and steady retail offtake. Shares of Bajaj Finance recovered in trade today. This after brokerages said that the bank's financial impact after the Reserve Bank's order on not sanctioning loans under 2 lending products is limited. CLSA and Jefferies have maintained a buy target on the company's stock, saying they see limited impact, while Morgan Stanley has ruled out a financial impact, anticipating a resolution of the issue soon. Well, on to a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. Yuko Bank has said it has recovered nearly 80% of the amount that was erroneously transferred to its customers after a tech glitch. Ritu standing by now with the details. Ritu, explain this story to us. We're not talking about small amounts. We're talking about 850 crores. How does 850 crores get erroneously transferred and then reclaimed?
Well, essentially, Shireen, if you send the money to me, both you and I got that money instead of your money being debited and my account being credited. That is the sum and substance of what has happened because of an internal glitch. But like you say, the bank has now revealed details of the amount that was wrongly credited into accounts following a technical glitch in the IMPS transactions. And it turns out as much as 820 crore rupees was erroneously transferred into customer accounts without any actual money being received into Yuko Bank from the remitter banks. Now, earlier this morning, Yuko Bank clarified that it had blocked the recipient's accounts, and it has been able to retain and recover about 649 crores out of this 820 crore rupees. The bank also said it has initiated actions to recover the balance amount as well. But since this clarification was made to the exchanges, we also reached out to the bank, and we understand another 9 crores or so has been recovered so far, taking the total recovery to close to 660 crore rupees, which is a little over 80% of the amount. Now, to understand what really happened, we spoke to various officials about how this error occurred, and it turns out that when customers from other banks sent money to Yuko Bank customers, a technical issue caused Yuko Bank's system to send a message which said transaction failed to the sender bank, and this made the money go back to the sender bank even though it had actually been correctly credited to the right recipient. If you recall, if you're making a transaction, if you see a message that says transaction failed, you immediately get the money back in your account, and that's what happened with the senders, while the recipients had also got the money. Now, we understand there are about 6 or 7 other banks from which such transfers were made to Yuko Bank customer accounts. Now, the bulk of these transactions, by the way, they took place on Diwali night and the night after, that is the 12th and the 13th of November. Now, while the bank did not explicitly say if this was a cyber attack, all it has said is that there was an internal tech issue, but the bank has reported the matter to law enforcement agencies for action, and that, we understand, includes the cybercrime cell as well as the CBI.
All right, Ritu, many thanks for joining us. Still trying to wrap my head around this story. But the big national story, it's been more than 100 hours and the ordeal continues for 40 construction workers who find themselves trapped inside the collapsed Uttarakhand tunnel. Rescuers have begun drilling through the debris. Authorities claim the best possible efforts are being made to rescue the workers, and for now, all of them are safe and unharmed. CNN News 18's Anshul Singh reports from the site of the tunnel collapse to bring us the status of the rescue operations.
Almost after 100 hours, the drilling operation to rescue the workers who are stuck inside the tunnel has finally started. Initially, it was predicted that the debris is approximately 50 meters, but since the operation had started, there were new vibrations that happened and the debris increased to 70 meters. The visuals that you are seeing on your screens right now, these are fresh pipes that are being brought in. These pipes would be pushed inside the debris, and from that, it is expected that the workers will start crawling out from these pipes. It has been more than 100 hours. Food, medicine, water is continuously being provided to each and every person who is stuck inside. In fact, there is constant communication that has been made. The only silver lining being that all of them are absolutely safe, and there is no need of urgent panic that is required at this point in time. So yes, the machineries are on the spot. The American auger, the much awaited machine, has already arrived over here. It has been assembled, and the drilling process has also started. Approximately 3 meters of tunnel has been dug. It is expected that the entire debris is somewhere around 70 meters, so it is going to take a lot of time for the rescuers, and if everything goes according to plan, it is going to take a lot of time, approximately 12 to 15 hours, if the condition is according to the prediction.
Well, that is a story that continues to develop. Now, the BJP has released its manifesto for Rajasthan ahead of the assembly election scheduled for the 25th of November. The party has announced a subsidy of 450 rupees per LPG cylinder for the Ujjwala scheme. The manifesto also promises 2.5 lakh government jobs, a Mahila Thana in every district and a Mahila desk in every police station. 1,000 crore rupees and counting. Sources have told CNBC-TV18 that cash seizures by the tax department in the 5 poll-bound states have crossed 1,000 crore rupees so far. The head of India's direct tax authority has said that cash seized is more than the total seizures made before the 2019 Lok Sabha elections. Well, we will head into a short break, but up next, the World Health Organization launches a 3-year initiative to address loneliness as a health threat, announces an 11-member commission to outline solutions to foster social connections. That and more when we return. The Israel-Hamas conflict rages on for the 5th consecutive day now. The Gazan Health Authority has not been able to update the death toll due to a collapse in communication and medical services. The Israeli Defense Forces have retreated from Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital following an overnight raid, which the IDF claims was a targeted operation against Hamas. The IDF says it uncovered military equipment, ammunition and communication technology in what it believes to be a Hamas command operations center under the hospital. The Israeli fighter jets have struck the home of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh, says the military. They also claim his house was a meeting point for Hamas senior leaders. Meanwhile, President Biden has come to defend his stance on the refusal for a humanitarian pause in Gaza. He argues that a ceasefire would allow Hamas to pose a continuing threat to Israel.
Not kidding about it.
President Biden there. Janet Trunchale has been elected as the next EY Global Chair and CEO, the first woman to head one of the big 4 firms. Trunchale will succeed Carmine DiSilvio, who steps down on the 1st of July next year. She currently serves as regional managing partner of EY's America's Financial Services Organization, and she's been with EY for 33 years, having joined as an intern. Now, British luxury brand Burberry has said that the company has been hit by a global slowdown in luxury spending. Burberry has cautioned that it might struggle to meet its annual revenue forecast. The company posted a sharp slump in store sales growth in the second quarter to 1% from 18% in the first quarter, and this dip was largely contributed by muted demand from China. Reliance Jio Cinema ventures into the kids' entertainment space. It signed a deal with Japan's Pokémon to exclusively stream over 1,000 episodes and movies of the Pokémon franchise. The financial details of the deal have not been disclosed. Loneliness is now a global health priority as per the World Health Organization. Calling it a global epidemic and a health threat, the WHO has launched a new commission on social connection. The commission, among other things, will focus on designing strategies to help people deepen their social connections. Ekta Batta joins us now with more on WHO's findings. Ekta, loneliness, a health threat that's been identified by the WHO. Take us through what it intends to do to tackle it.
Well, yes, absolutely. The World Health Organization is making loneliness a global health priority. The WHO has launched a new commission on social connection. The aim of the commission, which consists of 11 leading policymakers, thought leaders and advocates from across the globe, will be to address loneliness as a pressing health threat. promote social connections as a priority, and accelerate the scaling up of solutions in the countries of all incomes. According to the WHO, social isolation, which means having an insufficient number of social connections, and loneliness, which is described as the social pain of not feeling connected, are widespread, impacting the health and well-being of people of all age groups across the globe. According to the WHO, social isolation affects 1 in 4 older people, with 5 to 15% of adolescents even experiencing loneliness. These figures are likely to be underestimated, and the impact of social isolation and loneliness is real. According to the WHO, people without strong social connections are at a higher risk of stroke, anxiety, dementia, depression, amongst others. It carries an equal or even greater risk of early death as other risk factors such as smoking, excessive drinking, obesity, and more. Being socially isolated has been linked to depression, anxiety, and can increase the risk of cardiac diseases by 30%. Lastly, the commission, which is co-chaired by the US Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy, will hold its first leadership level meeting between the 6th and 8th of December this year. The agenda of the commission has special significance at this time as per the WHO, given how COVID-19 resulted in undermining social connections. For the next 3 years, the commission will analyze how social connections help in improving health for people of all ages, and will also outline solutions to build social connections at scale.
All right, Ekta, many thanks for joining us. Loneliness, a real health risk, says the WHO. Something that, well, doesn't seem very obvious, but is a cause for many health conditions. And with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Business 360. Thanks very much for watching. Do stay tuned. The news continues right after this break.